Let's watch this video. Smolder is not what people expected. Let's see.
Well, this is gonna be quite a week.
Oh
That's
yeah,
right. Yesterday, Riot revealed the
everybody's
newest
complaining.
champion, which we are.
Everybody's complaining about the face. It looks too human. The eyes are not like dragon eyes. That like reptile eyes. They look like human eyes, something like that. And people are complaining, but I already saw that the rioters are like changing it, and they show some examples that they are working in. So at least they responded to this feedback. That's good.
Are gonna talk about today, but they also revealed that today we are getting the devlog where they are gonna talk about what's gonna be happening in 2024. Spoiler alert, 2024 is likely gonna be nuts, especially if Arcane is also happening. You just remember the budget for promotions the first season had. But then they also revealed that on January the 10th, not only will the ranked season start, but we will also
Get
finally
the
get a
cinematic.
new season start cinematic. And
Shoo.
this time, Aatrox is involved.
Oh hell
And
yeah!
that's pretty much all we know. So that one better be good. As a reminder, with how League's IP
Wait,
is being.
but is it gonna be like a 12-minute cinematic or two parts, or just a 6 minute mix between the one that was supposed to be for last year and the one for this year? How is that gonna be?
Handled, that cinematic is gonna be canon. Or at the very least, it should be
Which one?
based being handled, so that one better be good. As a reminder, with how League's IP is being handled, that cinematic is gonna be canon.
Oh
Or at the
yeah.
very least, it should be based on the canonical lore. Anyway, all of that is content for future us to handle. Because today, we are looking at the newest champion, Smolder. Now, before we dive into what the teaser actually showed us, we have to talk about how this teaser was revealed. Because Smolder was not revealed through a normal video on the League YouTube channel, which is how champions are usually revealed, and that's how they get many,
Yeah,
many
I
views. Nope, in fact, this teaser is a shorts video, which is happening during the time when YouTube is trying to dial down the shorts a little bit. And with the competition of short videos rising, the views are not what they used to be. Which also unfortunately means that, yeah, this teaser does not have the views which teasers usually have. So yeah, it was a good
mm-hmm.
idea to gamble on shorts. I'm just not sure if it worked out. Anyway, now let's dive in. As always, the teaser starts with a good old Riot Games logo, but also a dragon swooping around. And as you'll see later, this is either Smolder's mother or
Shivana.
this dragon is dead. We'll talk about
Oh,
that in just a minute. After which it cuts to a grand reveal. The reveal that Smolder is in fact from Kamavor, which immediately made everyone
oh, I confused Kamabor with Demacia. My dumbass. Oh fuck. In the other video, whoops, my
in the
bad.
lore community think the same thing. Who cares about a draconic champion? We are getting more Kamavor lore. So yeah, let's dive in. First of all, you can see that the dragon itself does actually have a crown of sorts. I assume that this is supposed to indicate that this is kind of a draconic royalty, which was teased in the past. Speaking of which, thank God my theory was wrong. But remember that the magical draconic
Wait, what?
of which, thank God my theory was
What is
wrong.
that?
But remember that the magical draconic crown may just be fire on the dragon. If you look at some of the other dragons from Runeterra, there are some similarities. But still, for now, keep in mind that this dragon might also be dead. Now, below the dragon, we do have a new character, which I don't believe was mentioned before. Now, if you really dive into the Ruination book, you might remember Viego bringing up some legendary characters. You know, the legend of Mikhail's chalice, stuff like that. But still, I don't believe any of those historic figures match this one. It is possible that this is not a legend from the past and it is more of a recent character. Though it still had to happen quite some time before Viego. And speaking of Viego, I saw quite a lot of people freeze at the blade. Yes, this definitely looks like Sanctity, which is the real name of the blade of the Ruined King, which is also one of the most badass weapons in this universe. But despite this looking similar to Sanctity, I still don't believe that's the actual blade. And that's for multiple reasons. First of all, it would have to mean that this is directly Viego's ancestor, because not only is sanctity being passed down through generations in the royal family, but also the blade is kind of famous for binding the wielder's soul to it. Having someone else wield it would bring up a lot of questions. So instead, this is most likely a blade that is supposed to look like sanctity, because this is some kind of a champion of Kamavor, and they are still representing their
Oh,
kingdom. Also, there is one more
that
really
makes
good reason
sense.
that points at the fact that this is not the real blade, which comes in the next scene. But before we move there, look at the background. Hey, that's more footage of Kamavor. Next, we can see that, yes, Kamavor was actually heavily allied with dragons. This is something that
That's cool.
Viego teased from the very beginning, and there are a lot of people who may have not known about this. But if you look at Viego's armor, you can see a lot of draconic imagery. That's why later in Legends of Runeterra we actually got to see some Kamavoran dragons. They were not just fighting besides Viego because Viego corrupted them, but it's also because he kinda brought those dragons from Kamavor. Anyway, here it is
Oh,
very likely that
okay.
we can see a champion of Alvedra, which is kinda the capital of Kamavor, fighting one of the neighboring nations. Because yes,
That looks
Kamavor
like
was kinda
Demacia.
known for being a nation of assholes. They were just conquering everyone else just because they could. Which also means that it is possible that Kamavor is attacking Kafkan here, which is Nila's nation. Very quickly, I also want to point out how it's kind of cool how the main character has the halo around them. This is a very real way humanity portrayed holy figures in the past. Which kind of makes me question, what if this was some ancient ruler of Kamavor? That would mean that this is the real sanctity. Although there is still one good reason why that's not the case. And that's because in the next scene you can actually see the real
Oh, yeah.
sanctity on either side here. Yes, these are the real blades of the Ruined
But,
King, or
but what if it's like a paladin or something like that? Like a light warrior or something, I mean, I don't know. I guess could be a paladin. That's it.
sanctity. You can see that they are
A
still quite
retribution paladin.
different from the blade that the
It
other
looks it
character
looks
had.
like a
But right
paladin sword,
now, anything is up
a
on the
two
table.
handle.
Now, here I would also like to bring up Smolder's quote, because he mentioned that Kamavor knew to treat dragons like royalty, which again is referencing how this champion was teased. They are supposed to be some kind of a draconic royalty. Not that kind, though. Now, once again,
I
looking at the
still want
background,
to
you
know
can
what
see
is
that
that.
yes, the border is made out of sanctity, but at the top you can actually see the sigil of Kamavor, which Viego has just about everywhere. Of course, the main point of the scene is that even the Kamavoran royalty was giving the dragons gold. This is a very fantasy thing. I still don't know what the dragons would be doing with treasure. And unfortunately, we do not know who these people are. I'm not gonna assume they have anything to do with the main royal family of Kamavor. These are more likely members of some of the more richer houses in Kamavor. And yes, you can see that some of them have their own sigils on them. One of which looks suspiciously just like the Sentinel logo. I don't think that's what it is
What?
though, because that probably wouldn't work for the timeline. Anyway, what's cool to see is that after the dragon gets the treasure, they actually bow before them. The dragons are actually respectful, which kind of makes sense why Kamavor had such a good relationship with the dragons. It was all about team effort. So why did Viego not have his own dragon? Anyway, this teaser ends with a beautiful view that
Good
goes through
idea.
the environment
Good
of
question.
Kamavor, which also includes what I believe is the main keep of Alavedra. I believe this is the case because in some of the versions of the Ruination book, we got very similar architecture.
Oh wow, look at
After
that.
which,
That pop out.
alright, let's talk about that. So, yeah, Smolder was revealed to shock and awe. This is where the opinions got all over the place. There are people who think this one is cute and they absolutely love the design, and there are others who absolutely hate the fact that for some reason this dragon looks almost human like.
Let me see. I feel like Spirit show everyone the cheat sheet on how to make a kid dragon with expressions the right way. Where I decided to ignore them entirely and give in a fucking human space, I couldn't begin to explain. Trying to break out Dragon Slayer vein and put that thing out of his misery.
Like a little bit, it is getting into the uncanny valley, which actually brings up quite a few questions. First of all, why does it have human like features when all the other dragons are more Godzilla like?
Monster,
And
yeah.
also, why is he the only one who speaks? Even his mother doesn't speak. So is it possible that there is a reason for both of these things to be the case? Was there some crossbreeding between dragons and humans again? Anyway, here is where I really want to mention a really funny thing.
Oh
You
boy.
see, yes, it is true that Camavor was always all about dragons. But seemingly, there was a big wrench that was thrown into all of this when Neela arrived. Let me quote her story. She embarked on a conquest of the greatest threats of ancient myth, one of which, Grandmother Viper, the invincible progenitor of all Camavoran dragons. That's right, Smolder. Neela killed your ancestors. Yeah, this is why I wonder if the dragon from the teaser is Smolder's mother or if it is one of the royal dragons from the past. Because if the magical crown was supposed to indicate that, then that dragon was likely the Viper, which is now dead. Thanks, Neela. But yeah, that's
What?
about what this teaser gives us. To be honest, this is a really cool one, but it's mostly because it does actually dive into Camavor. But what's also awesome is that all the teasers we got before this reveal were so clever. For example, back in April, when Smolder was mentioned for the first time, the teaser was titled The End of the Road Map, which was teasing that Smolder was not from the map we knew at the time. He's from Camavor, which you can only see in the Ruination book. So he does come from beyond the end of the map. And yeah, then of course we get all the teasers about royalty, which again, thank God I was wrong. Or you know what? Maybe it's not that good that I was wrong. I still wonder what the in-game model is going to look like because
I'm pretty sure
those
they're
may
changing it.
vary wildly. But in case the champion in-game gets to also look creepy, look, internet, do your thing. You managed to fix Sonic, you can do it again.
I'm pretty sure they did it. I'm pretty sure they're fixing it. But the real question here: if dragons are that important, come out. Why the hell don't we have pretty cool feature art of Diego and his armor riding the Camavon and dragon? Why Riot? So, come on. Mm, okay. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm not interested right now in the lore for the MOBA. I'm more interested in the lore for the MMO. So maybe they change something or they keep it. I don't know. So I'm waiting for the MMO lore and see what they're doing. Right? Okay, that was fun. Nice.